Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking into something pretty fascinating and kind of scary at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the rise of crypto scams. And it seems like they're popping up more and more as crypto values keep going up.
Makes sense, I guess. Where there's money, there's always someone trying to figure out how to get it without, well, working for it.
Exactly. And CNBC just recently reported that Bitcoin is getting closer and closer to $100,000.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty tempting number.
Right. It's easy to see why so many people are jumping into crypto, and that's exactly what scammers are counting on.
So, more people interested in crypto equals more opportunities for scams.
Pretty much. Malwarebytes actually did some research on this and found that last year alone, people lost over $5.6 billion to crypto scams.
Billion. Wow.
Yeah, billion with a B. It's a huge problem. So what we're trying to do today is give you the knowledge to spot these scams before you even become a target.
I like it. Knowledge is power, right?
Exactly. Okay, so one thing that really stood out to me in that CNBC article was that even experienced investors are falling for these scams.
Really? You'd think they'd know better.
You would think, right? So it's not just about being new to crypto, it's something else.
Well, the crypto world is still pretty new in the grand scheme of things. And it changes so quickly that can make even seasoned investors a little, well, reckless, I guess.
I mean, like they get caught up in the hype and forget to be cautious?
Exactly. There's this fear of missing out, this FOMO that can really cloud judgment. You see prices skyrocketing and you think, I got to get in on this before it's too late.
So it's almost like our brains get hijacked by this fear of missing out.
Yeah, it can be a powerful emotion. And scammers are really good at using that to their advantage. They'll use high pressure tactics, limited time offers, anything to get you to act without thinking things through.
So it's almost like a combination of taking advantage of that fear and using these sophisticated tactics.
Absolutely. Some of these scams are incredibly complex. They're not just simple phishing emails anymore. We're talking about things like deep fakes and elaborate schemes that play out over months or even years.
Speaking of elaborate schemes, Malwarebytes goes into a few different types of scams. One that really caught my eye was pig butchering. The name alone is just disturbing.
Yeah, it's a pretty unsettling term,
Yeah.
but it's actually a very accurate description of how these scams work.
So how does this pig butchering work?
Well, imagine this. A scammer contacts you online. They're friendly, they seem genuine, and over time, you start to develop a relationship with them. This could go on for months, even years.
So they're not just going for a quick con, they're really playing the long game.
Exactly. They're building trust, making you feel like you have a real connection with them, and they're not even mentioning crypto at this point. They're just fattening you up, so to speak.
Okay, so how does the crypto part come into play?
Well, once they've gained your trust, they'll casually mention that they've been making a lot of money investing in cryptocurrency. They might even show you some fake screenshots of their profits.
To make it seem more believable.
Exactly. And by this point, you're so invested in the relationship emotionally and mentally that you're more likely to let your guard down.
So you're thinking, hey, if they're making money, maybe I can too.
Right. And that's when they hit you with the pitch. They'll tell you about this amazing crypto opportunity, a surefire way to get rich quick. And because you trust them, you're more likely to believe them.
Wow. So it's like emotional manipulation combined with financial exploitation.
Sadly, yes. And these scammers are getting increasingly sophisticated. They're using things like deepfakes to make their schemes even more convincing.
Deepfakes, like those AI-generated videos that can make anyone say or do anything.
Exactly. We've already seen examples of scammers using deepfakes to impersonate celebrities like Elon Musk, promoting fake crypto projects.
Oh, wow. That's just terrifying. So it's not just about being careful who you trust online, but also questioning the very reality of what you're seeing and hearing.
That's the scary part. It's becoming harder and harder to tell what's real and what's fake. And that's why it's more important than ever to be cautious and do your research.
So if even something as straightforward as a video can be manipulated, where do we even begin? How do we navigate this?
Well, a healthy dose of skepticism is a good starting point. Never base your investment decisions solely on what you see in a video or on social media. Always verify, verify, verify. Go to the source, check official websites, look for reviews and analysis from reputable sources.
So basically, don't just take someone's word for it, especially when it comes to your hard-earned money.
Right, and be wary of platforms that look very similar to legitimate crypto exchanges. They might have very similar names or URLs, just slightly different to trick you.
So those fake platforms are designed to steal your login information.
Exactly. They want to get your credentials so they can access your funds.
So it pays to be super vigilant about those website addresses. Double check, triple check, make sure it's the actual site.
And bookmarking legitimate websites is a good habit to get into. That way, you don't even have to worry about mistyping a URL.
Good point. Okay, so we've got pig butchering, deepfakes, fake platforms, all very elaborate schemes. But what about those classic too good to be true offers? Are those still a thing in the crypto world?
Oh, absolutely. Malwarebytes talks about a few different versions of those. One is the advance fee scam, where they promise you some guaranteed return or access to this exclusive trading group, but only after you pay an upfront fee.
It's that old adage, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. And they might even keep asking for more fees, saying there were unexpected expenses or some other made-up problem, but that big payoff, it never comes.
So always be wary of any investment that wants you to pay money to make money. That's a huge red flag.
Right. And another variation is the bonus scam. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme for crypto. They promise you bigger and bigger returns based on how many people you recruit.
So it's not even about the actual crypto, it's just about getting more people involved.
Exactly. And they might even show you this constantly growing balance in your account just to lure you in deeper. But when you try to cash out, you can't.
Because it was all fake all along.
It's a good reminder that any investment opportunity that relies on recruiting people or promises crazy returns should be approached with extreme caution.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, but it seems like there's a common thread with all these scams.
What do you mean?
They all play on our emotions.
All right.
Whether it's the fear of missing out, the desire to get rich quick, or even just the need for connection. It's like scammers have figured out how to exploit our vulnerabilities.
You're absolutely right. And that's why it's so important to develop a critical mindset when it comes to crypto. It's not just about understanding the technology, but also understanding the psychology behind these scams.
So be aware of the emotional side of investing.
Exactly. Let's take a break and then come back to talk about some practical strategies for protecting yourself. How can listeners stay safe in this wild world of crypto?
Sounds good. We'll be right back after a short break. All right, we're back. And before we jump into research and due diligence, there's something I wanted to mention. It's about Ripple, the company behind the XRP cryptocurrency.
Oh, interesting. What about them?
Well, they recently put out a warning about these deepfake scams that are specifically targeting XRP investors. CryptoSlate had an article about it.
Yeah, those deepfakes are getting pretty scary, especially with how realistic they're becoming.
Exactly. And it seems like scammers are taking advantage of the recent price surge of XRP. People are excited about the potential, and then they see these videos promoting fake giveaways or investments.
Classic FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
Yeah, it makes people act impulsively. And the scary thing is, these deepfakes are so good that they can convincingly portray Ripple executives like Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz.
Wow, that's pretty unsettling. So how can people who are interested in XRP protect themselves? Is it even possible to spot these deepfakes?
Well, Ripple's advice is to always verify information through their official channels. So don't just rely on videos or social media posts. Go directly to Ripple's website, check their official Twitter, look for statements from verified sources.
So cut through the noise and go straight to the source. Good advice.
And of course, the old adage still applies. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No legitimate company will ever ask you to send crypto in exchange for guaranteed returns or free giveaways.
That's a good reminder for any investment, really. If it sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme, it probably is.
Exactly. And it's encouraging to see that Ripple is actively fighting back against these scams. They're monitoring suspicious activity, reporting it to the authorities, and they're even working with blockchain partners to shut down these fraudulent schemes.
That's good to hear. But ultimately, a lot of the responsibility falls on us as individuals to protect ourselves, right?
Absolutely. We all have a part to play in making the crypto world safer by staying informed, being cautious, and reporting anything that seems suspicious. We can make a difference.
Okay, so let's get back to those practical strategies for staying safe. We touched on research earlier. What exactly does that involve?
Well, it starts with understanding the basics, the fundamentals. Do you know what a seed phrase is? Or how a crypto wallet works?
Those are terms I've definitely heard before, but I'm not sure I could explain them very well.
That's okay. A lot of people are in the same boat.
Yeah.
Basically, a seed phrase is like the master key to your crypto wallet. It's a series of words that gives you access to your funds.
So it's super important to keep it safe and secure?
Absolutely. Think of it like the combination to a safe. If someone gets hold of your seed phrase, they can completely drain your wallet.
Got it. And what about a crypto wallet? Is that like a physical wallet where you store your crypto?
Not exactly. It's a digital tool that lets you store, send, and receive cryptocurrency. There are different types of wallets too. Some are software-based, some are hardware devices.
So choosing a secure wallet is a pretty big deal.
Definitely. One of the first things you should do before even thinking about investing in any cryptocurrency.
Okay, so say we have a secure wallet, and we understand those basics about seed phrases and private keys. What's next?
Well, now it's time to start researching specific cryptocurrencies or projects that you're interested in. A good place to start is CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. They have a ton of information like price history, market cap, trading volume.
So you can kind of get a general overview of how the coin's been performing and get a sense of its credibility.
Exactly, but don't stop there. You want to dig deeper into the project itself. Look for their white paper. It's a document that outlines their goals, their technology, who's on their team, all that good stuff.
So it's like their mission statement and business plan all in one.
Yeah, pretty much. A well-written white paper should be very transparent and informative. If it's full of jargon or just vague promises, that's a big red flag.
So they're looking for substance over hype.
Absolutely. And speaking of the team behind the project, don't forget to research them too. Who are the founders? What kind of experience do they have? Are they known in the crypto world?
It's like making sure there are actual people behind the project, not just some anonymous group hiding online.
Right, transparency is key. A legitimate project will have a team that's open about who they are. You can usually find this information on their website, on LinkedIn, places like that.
Okay, so we've looked at the white paper, we've checked out the team. What else should we be paying attention to?
Well, pay attention to their community engagement. Are they active on social media? Do they have a strong online community? Do they actually respond to people's questions and concerns?
So it's about seeing how they interact with their supporters, getting a sense of their social proof.
A strong, active community can be a good sign. It shows that people are interested in the project, and if a project seems secretive or they avoid engaging with their community, that's a red flag for sure.
So it's all about connecting the dots, gathering information from different places to get a complete picture of the project.
Exactly. And this might seem obvious, but always double check the website address, the URL, of any site you're visiting. Scammers are getting very good at making fake websites that look almost identical to the real thing.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. Bookmarking those legitimate websites is a good way to avoid accidentally landing on a fake one.
And be wary of any emails, texts, or social media messages that you didn't ask for, especially if they're asking for personal or financial information. Legitimate companies will never randomly contact you and ask for your password or seed phrase.
Right, it's like that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yep, that definitely applies to the crypto world, so be cautious.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about research and due diligence, but what about those gut feelings we mentioned earlier? How do we develop that intuition to help us spot a scam?
Well, it's a combination of knowledge and experience. The more you learn about crypto, the more familiar you become with those red flags, those warning signs.
It's like training your scam detecting muscles.
Exactly. And it's not just about recognizing what to look for, but also about thinking critically. Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, get different perspectives. Don't just blindly follow the hype.
If something feels off, trust your gut.
Exactly. It's often that little voice of intuition that can save you from making a big mistake.
Okay, I'm feeling more confident already, but I think we need to talk about another aspect of this, which is protecting our accounts and our devices, making sure they're secure.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that. What are some practical things that people can do to boost their security?
And we're back. All right, so we've spent a good amount of time talking about research and due diligence, really understanding the crypto landscape and spotting those red flags. But let's get down to the practical stuff. How do we actually protect our accounts and devices? Keep those cyber threats at bay.
That's a great question. And honestly, it comes down to basic cybersecurity hygiene. It's like locking your doors and windows even if you live in a safe neighborhood. You're not making yourself a target.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some of those basic things that everyone should be doing to stay safe online, especially when it comes to crypto?
Well, strong passwords are always the first line of defense. And I can't stress this enough. Use a unique password for every single crypto account you have. Don't reuse passwords across different platforms. It's just asking for trouble.
Right, because if one account gets hacked, then they're all vulnerable.
Exactly. Treat your crypto passwords like the keys to your house. You wouldn't use the same key for every single door.
Right, definitely not. And speaking of keys, we talked about seed phrases earlier. Those are like the master key to your entire crypto wallet, right?
That's right. And those need to be kept safe and secure. Never, ever share your seed phrase with anyone. and store it offline, somewhere safe. Don't just write it down on a sticky note and stick it to your computer.
So if anyone ever asks for your seed phrase, it's a scam.
Guaranteed. No legitimate company would ever ask for that information.
Okay, strong passwords, secure seed phrases. What else?
Two-factor authentication is a must. Turn it on wherever you can. It adds that extra layer of security by requiring a code from your phone or email on top of your password. Whenever you log in.
Two-factor authentication is pretty standard these days, right? Not just for crypto.
It should be. It's such a simple but effective way to protect your accounts.
Okay, and what about phishing attacks? Are those still a big threat?
Oh, yeah. Phishing is still huge. Those are the attacks where someone tries to trick you into giving up sensitive information, like your password or seed phrase. They might pretend to be your bank or a crypto exchange, someone you trust.
Right, so those emails or messages that look totally legit but are actually designed to steal your info?
Exactly. Always be wary of messages that you didn't ask for, especially if they're asking for personal or financial details. Hover over links before you click them to see where they actually go. And if anything seems even a little bit off, go directly to the company's official website or call them to check if the message is real.
Okay, so be cautious and don't click on anything suspicious. Good advice.
And it's not just about protecting your accounts, you also need to protect your devices. Keep everything up to date. Your operating system, your browser, your antivirus software, everything.
So those software updates are actually important.
They are. A lot of times those updates include security patches that fix vulnerabilities that scammers could exploit.
It's like patching the holes in your digital armor.
Exactly. And speaking of armor, consider using a VPN, a virtual private network, especially when you're using public Wi-Fi.
A VPN, what does that do?
It basically encrypts your internet connection, so it makes it way harder for scammers to intercept your data. Even if you're using public Wi-Fi at a coffee shop or airport,
Oh, that's good to know.
yeah, it adds an extra layer of protection.
This is all great advice.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that even if we're super careful, there's always a chance that we could still fall victim to a scam. I mean, these scammers are always coming up with new tricks.
That's true. No system is perfect.
Yeah.
But by taking these precautions, we can definitely reduce our risk significantly.
So it's all about minimizing those chances, making ourselves less of a target.
Exactly. And it's also about knowing what to do if you think you've been scammed.
So what are those steps? What should people do if they think they've been caught in a scam?
First things first. Report it to the authorities. Call your local police department. File a report. You can also report it to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Don't just let it go.
So take action and report it.
Right. And make sure you document everything. Save any emails, messages, screenshots, anything related to the scam. That information can be really helpful for law enforcement.
Okay, and what about getting your money back? Is that even possible?
It really depends on the situation. Sometimes it might be possible, especially if it involved a traditional bank. But crypto scams, those can be tougher.
So prevention is key.
Absolutely. It's much better to be proactive and take those steps to protect yourself before anything happens.
But we've covered a lot of ground today, from different types of scams and the psychology behind them to the practical ways to stay safe. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Just remember, knowledge is power. The more you learn about cryptocurrency, the better decisions you'll make and the easier it will be to avoid scams. Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge what you hear, get different perspectives, and don't just get caught up in the hype.
Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is.
Exactly. And this is important. The crypto world is constantly changing. So stay informed, be cautious, and don't let the possibility of profits cloud your judgment.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive and for sharing your expertise on how to navigate the crypto world safely.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep exploring the exciting world of crypto. Until next time, happy investing.